how they'll line up for the opening round of the title. George Fury sitting there on pole position. Robbie Francevic will start from 2. Back in the second row, Dick Johnson of Queensland in the Mustang from 3, and Jim Richards in the BMW from 4. The next row back is Peter Brock from 5 in car 5, and from position 6, car number 2, Graham Bailey. The unsponsored car from 7 is car number 75, Colin Bond, a great qualifying effort from 8. 25, Tony Longhurst of Queensland in the BMW. The next row back sees car number 3, John Harvey of the Mobile Dealer Team, starting out of 9, and from position 10, car 33, Mike Bergman in the Commodore. From 11 is car number 7, Charlie O'Brien of Queensland in the BMW. And from position number 12 is car number 12, Gary Wilmington in the Jaguar XJS. A full field of starters. Behind Gary Wilmington, Brian Callaghan, Graham Crosby of New Zealand in the Commodore, Kevin Bartlett in the Starion, Terry Finnegan, Gary Rogers, Alf Grant, Ken Matthews, Gerald Kay, Graham Hooley, Ken Davidson, Bob Holden, Laurie Hazelton and Peter Williamson. They're ready, they're set for the opening round of the Australian Touring Car Championship from Sydney's Amaroo Park. The better brakes, 100 turbo power, the front row. About 6 seconds away from the start. Racing in the Australian Touring Car Championship, and New Zealand's Robbie Francevic and Albury's George Fury go at it, hammer and tongs. Francevic will win the drag to the top of the hill, Johnson away smartly, and then Jim Richards being shouldered off as Peter Brock makes a run up the inside, but Francevic takes the lead. Fury in second, third place held down by Dick Johnson. Then the Chicken Man going through. Richards a beautiful inside pass in the 2 Mobile Commodores. Longhurst made a blinder as well as they head down the back part of the course, where George Fury takes over the lead in the Nissan Skyline.
Great start to this opening round of the Australian Touring Car Championship Series, and look at Fury, will you? Turbo power off the front row of the grid. He and Robbie Francevic side by side up the top of the hill, and Fury winning out in the initial battle. Dick Johnson just in behind them as they go down to the late corner for the first time. Then the plain white car of Graham Bailey.
Well, that was a tremendous start from Bailey in a brand new car. He took delivery of the vehicle last Wednesday, a car built by Roadways in Melbourne, the Les Small organisation, and in 4th position at the end of the first lap as George Fury leads from Francevic and Dick Johnson.
They've completed 1 of 52 circuits of Sydney's Amaroo Park. Peter Jackson, Nissan Skyline, and George Fury leads from Francevic, Johnson. And the next one to go through is the strong qualifier, Graham Bailey in the Commodore, unsponsored, but doing one heck of a job as he drops up into 4th place as they race down the back part of the course. Jim Richards behind him, then Peter Brock, John Harvey, and then of course Tony Longhurst.
Harvey had trouble with a rotor button this morning in the Commodore. They've sorted that problem out, although we did see him stop on the warm-up even prior to this race. We hope everything's okay with car number 3.
There's Jim Richards, the man who won the Australian title, and here he comes down the inside. Just can't maneuver it. Yes, he does. Straight down under brakes on the inside of Graham Bailey. You want to go racing? Want the championship? I'm after it. And here's John Harvey in the second of the dealer team Commodores, coming up as well behind Jim Richards. Gentleman Jim feeling the pinch just a little bit in the opener.
And
Peter Brock through as well as they race up on the outside. Let's see whether they can pass last year's champ. 1 passes. That's Harvey. Here's Brock. Up on the outside of Jim Richards and takes the inside run. Will he do it over the top? No, he can't.
The Commodores with almost 400 brake horsepower, the BMW 300, the Commodore a fraction heavier, but by gee, the 86 Evolution is really working for the dealer team.
Keep your eyes on Tony Longhurst. We'll certainly be doing that.
Will the tyres last on the Commodores over the 52-lap journey? That's the big question.
There's John Harvey doing nicely there in car number 3. Oh, one around sideways, going off the circle. Pick that up for you later. Here's Harvey.
It was Bailey.
Jim Richards right behind him, and Brock warming to the task of also passing Richards as they head down to the bottom corner. The scrap continues for the lead. Here is Jim Richards moving to the outside. Harvey is there as well. There's Kevin Bartlett by the look of things with the Starion. That is not firing. Coming across the line, and Tony Longhurst coming up to give his JPS teammate a little support as Peter Brock looks for a way past Jim Richards, and Longhurst is back behind him. Robbie Francevic goes back into the lead, this time over the top of Nissan Skyline. George Fury still in second spot, and Queensland's own Dick Johnson still in third.
I think George got in trouble coming up onto the main straight. Francevic darted by, and Dick Johnson almost got the Nissan as well. Well, Bailey's gone. He spun off 1 lap earlier in this position here. So it's car number 10, Robbie Francevic, in the Volvo 242 Turbo, with around about 80 or 90 metres over George Fury. Dick Johnson plunging through, looking for a gap for second place. He's doing a great job in the Mustang.
Here they come through the bend and back onto the start-finishing straight. Kiwi lands Robbie Francevic doing one super job as he goes across the line. And we join race cam now as we head up towards Pt1 Hill with Dick Johnson, and he is chasing George Fury in the Nissan Skyline. Down into the right-hander. Incidents galore in this touring car championship. We've got one of them coming up for you shortly. Now let's take a look at it. Dick Johnson going through with the pack, and here is Graham Bailey getting out of shape, going across the circuit on the exit to Mazda corner. There's only a bank out there to hit, but Bailey gets the brakes on. The car is ploughing it through, but stops short of the bank. Graham Bailey exits the Australian Touring Car Championship round 1. Dick Johnson still in third behind Robbie Francevic and George Fury.
The Mustang really working hard, trying to get some grip. A fair bit of horsepower from this beast, and Dick Johnson having all sorts of strife this weekend, trying to get it to the ground on the short circuit.
By gee, Francevic is galloping away up front now in the Volvo. Really opening out quite a commanding lead over George Fury in the Nissan Skyline, then Johnson. And quite a gap then back to John Harvey in the first of the dealer team Commodores, followed by Jim Richards, then Peter Brock.
By comparison to Francevic's performance here last year at this round, Francevic has come down some 2 seconds a lap in lap time, so they've done some great development work with the car.
I was just about to say that Francevic didn't even make the touring car starting lineup last year. Actually, a wheel fell off the car around about this part of the circuit, and he was a casualty even before the green flag. There he is, though, the man who sat on pole position for the Wellington 500 street race, failed to finish it, and also the follow-up event in New Zealand. But he's back campaigning the touring car title in the Mark Petch Turbo Volvo, and looking very strong at this stage as he leads George Fury and Dick Johnson. The dealer team Commodores are now running fourth and fifth, Harvey and Brock having got by Jim Richards, and Richards in fact is under pressure now from teammate Tony Longhurst in the BMW 325. Well, it was Jim Richards' decision not to run the 325. He wanted to run the 635, and I think, well, we'll wait and see the way the race pans out. It might have been the wrong decision. Terry Finnegan running strongly in the Huon Valley Commodore V8. But here's Johnson closing a little this time on George Fury as they come down through Mazda, and the downhill run to the left-hander at Mazda corner. Francevic running away. Second of the turbo cars, driven by George Fury, the Peter Jackson entry. And here's the scrap, the two mobile Commodores of John Harvey and Peter Brock. And two BMWs, Richards in 62, and of course in the number 25 car, Tony Longhurst. We've got two teams here, and they're having a great scrap. The mobile team that are going overseas to campaign the European Touring Car Championship, and the JPS BMW team that ran so strongly in last year's Australian title.
Longhurst is running the 325 series BMW, an extension of last year's 323. It's now 200cc bigger in the engine, slightly different brakes, a little bit more horsepower, but it'll be very good round this circuit towards the end of the race. What a battle this is between the JPS team and the mobile team, with Brock leading the bunch, then Harvey, then Richards, then Longhurst.
Quite a decision for Tony Longhurst to make, whether to go on with this or sit in behind the team leader.
I know what I'd do if I had the chance.
Go for it. I think Tony's going to do that shortly. Francevic extends his lead by 200 metres to George Fury. 5 back to Johnson, 100 back to Brock, and right behind Brock, Harvey, Jim Richards and Tony Longhurst.
Francevic's lead now 3 seconds plus and pulling away from George Fury.
Coming out of Cabalco Wonderlic corner, Peter Brock, 0-5. Not Brock's favourite circuit, Amaroo Park. Pretty hard on the V8 cars, always has been.
Their biggest problem is literally just getting the car to track straight here. We can see Peter Brock in strife, under brakes, through the turns, the car slipping and sliding. It's 1,325 kilograms and it's carrying 100 kilograms of lead ballast just to bring it up to that weight. So it's one of the heavier cars in the field, and they're still running the same rim and tyre size that they ran last year, so more horsepower. They have to pull it up in a hurry. It's hard on brakes, it's hard on tyres. Certainly
well suited to some of the other longer and faster circuits,
as we saw in New Zealand.
Down towards the lake again. John Harvey, number 3, running the second of our Channel 7 race cams. There we take the pictures. He's following Peter Brock, and he's got the two JPS BMWs neatly tucked in behind him, and giving Brock a bit of a break on the field as he goes out chasing Dick Johnson. Heading up Pt1 Hill, you can see Brock, and just ahead of Brock, of course, is Dick Johnson. and George Fury in the Nissan Skyline, the Peter Jackson entry.
They're all a long way from Robbie Francevic, though, at the moment, even at this early stage of the race. There he is in the turbocharged Volvo, and a big space, clear space behind him as he goes over the back part of the circuit down to Honda Corner. Really got this car running smoothly, super smooth.
There's lots of rumours buzzing about the pits at the moment as to the future of the Volvo team in Australia. We believe that there will be an announcement shortly, but certainly the Volvo is now starting to get its act together for the 86 season. And now Dick Johnson through into second place in car number 17, and George Fury drops back to third. We'll see them here as they come through Wunderlich and onto the main straight. And Queensland's top banana, Dick Johnson, in second spot.
And Peter Brock's getting pretty close now too.
So Dick Johnson gains one. He moves to second. George Fury goes back to third after sitting on the pole. And here comes Peter Brock in 05. Brock will be running today's race, and of course next weekend heads off to Symonds Plains in Tasmania for the second round of the title, and after that it's off to Monza for the opening round of the European Championship with Alan Moffat.
Well, you know, whatever the Commodores do here at Amaroo, they're going to go yards better at places like Symonds Plains.
George Fury, what a debut for the Peter Jackson Nissan Skyline. Brand spanking new car to bring it out and put it on pole position. He's still doing a great job running in third, but Peter Brock's getting closer to him. Johnson's already made the swish. He's gone to second. And now Brock and Harvey and the two BMWs close up on George Fury.
They set the Nissan up with a very low ride height and very hard springing, and as a consequence of that it seems to be oversteering a fair bit and giving rear tyres a hard time. And we were looking at the car in the pits this morning, and even the team were wondering about how it would last when it was sliding around as much. Now Brock starts to really challenge the Nissan across the top. I think he even got his hand out the window there.
Well, that wouldn't be Brock if he if he couldn't get it out and wave someone. But he was under a lot of pressure a few laps back, Peter Brock. He's managed to close it up now, looking for third place. Closes on George Fury, tail out again. Looks like the Ignis Alpha entry of Colin Bond has some problems. They're changing tyres, obviously. Looking under there for some suspension problem or engine problem. Enrico Zanarini there, team manager for Alfa Romeo.
Brock was running in 8th place when he did call into the pits.
But trouble for Harvey in car number 3. He's slowed, almost stopped.
He's been dogged by problems even since Thursday here in practice.
I don't know whether he's got enough momentum to be able to get back to the pits. He's certainly trying to.
Is that something dragging under the car or just my imagination?
Well, it's very low to the ground, whatever it is.
Graham Crosby goes through. So Harvey still tries to get into the pit area, and Peter Brock takes George Fury in the Nissan Skyline to pick up third place. Dick Johnson's ahead of him on the racetrack, and 150 metres ahead of Johnson is the race leader, Robbie Francevic, in the Mark Petch Turbo Volvo.
12 down and 40 remaining.
Skyline under pressure now from both the BMWs, Jim Richards and Tony Longhurst, so George has really got his hands full out there today.
Yes. Coming up to the Nissan Skyline is, of course, the JPS duo, Tony Longhurst. He's done a great job to be positioned where he is, and that car will only get stronger as the race progresses. It's not carrying the weight. It seems to have enough grunt to really get around Amaroo Park quite quickly. George goes over the line with the two black and gold cars following him up Bitcher Pave Hill again.